Welcome to Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails. Amos is like 6'8".
The hill's so steep.
I'm down in the roots. But on the last episode, we were talking about putting a ground blind in the apple orchard on the other side of this big ridge up to our right. But we also came down on this side, and this is a good spot. There's a apple tree here that the bucks were coming to pretty heavily last year, and there's a really nice trail that runs along the inside edge of this timber. So on this episode, we're going to talk about that pattern. Not only just the apples, which is kind of a secondary here. I mean, it's a great secondary, but the primary pattern is that trail that runs along the edge. And we'll talk about how to find those, why they're such good, simple locations to hunt, and what the bucks do when they're traveling on those. Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails is brought to you by Redneck Blinds, Code of Silence Apparel, the Hunt Stand app, Whitetail Institute, Research Equals Results, B3 Archery, Muddy Outdoors Tree Stands, Stealth Cam Trail Cameras, My Outdoor TV, Blood Sport Arrows, and Hoyt. So let's start with the behavior, and then we'll get into the stand location after a little bit, because I think the strategy here is more important than actually how to hang a tree stand. I mean, we've done enough of those types of episodes. You know, we love our Muddy Outfitter stands. We can talk about that, of course, but you know, more importantly in this episode, we're going to talk about this trail system and why this pattern is so easy to find everywhere you go. So if you go 15 to 20 yards inside the cover, almost anywhere, even a woodlot, you're going to find a trail. I call them a perimeter trail or inside trail, and they're everywhere. And the bucks use those usually on the downwind edge of the whatever that piece of cover is, as a way to check the status of the deer that are living in there. So it's almost like when you go to bedding areas, the bucks will stay on the downwind side of the ridgetop when they're traveling back and forth. And when you're going into a patch of cover like this, they like that inside edge trail or that perimeter trail on the downwind side of the timber. This is a very simple pattern to hunt. It's an excellent one everywhere you go during the rut. Bucks are going to be traveling like this, and they'll do it in daylight. So the whole trick, of course, is to pick the best stand location. It's pretty simple here because we're up against the edge of the timber. The only challenge we've got is that there's going to be some deer that cross back in the grassy area above us, which would be downwind on a west, southwest, or even a northwest wind. We're going to give away some movement, or we're going to spook some deer behind us. And we talked in the last episode about bringing a blind in here. I didn't feel like I knew this area well enough to pick the spot, and I hate building the stand, putting the whole thing together, sticking it into the ground, making that permanent, semi-permanent type of a move when I don't really know what I'm doing. This year is going to be more focused on learning this area, being in a tree stand, hunting this pattern from the tree. And then once we figure it out, if it makes sense to be out in the grass with the blind, that'll be next season. But I do think that this pattern, this trail inside the cover, whether they're coming to the apple trees or not, is really going to pay off. The buck that I expect us to find, he was, I think, a 4-year-old buck last year. I think we can trace him back to his 3-year-old year, right in the same area. I mean, that buck has lived right here for as long as I've known about him. And he's not gotten a lot bigger. He was a really nice 3-year-old, and he was not much bigger as a 4-year-old. But I like to get him to 5 if I can, if I know how old they are, kind of like a goal. And he should be and would be a 5-year-old this year, making him a prime target. This would be a great spot for that, whether it's Jordan early season with the deer coming to the apples, or whether it's somebody during the rut, myself or her. So we're going to set up this stand with that buck in mind. And again, I think the whole focus of this episode is about that simple pattern, that inside trail, and how easy it is to hunt that. Access, entry, and exit is usually pretty good, depending upon if you're having to go through ag. If you have to go through ag, you can come in the afternoon, come straight across the field. In the evening when you leave, you got to drop down into the cover and you got to circle around and go out the long way. Or you got to arrange for some kind of a diversion, to bump the deer so they leave the area so you can sneak out at the end of legal shooting time. So I'm going to hang this one And after I get it hung, then we'll talk about it again really quick, and then we'll wrap up after that. I think this is my new favorite stand. I really like this. I'm 10 yards away from the apple tree. That edge trail that I talked about in the bulk of the episode is about 10 yards away, 15 yards away, just down inside the timber to my right. And then the open grass field is out here to my left. Most of the time I can sit, and Amos, or whoever is filming, would be able to film over my shoulder if the deer are down by the apple tree, which is a really cool shot, because then you get the bow, the hunter, and the deer and everything in one shot. So that would be really cool. And then, I don't know, it just feels really comfortable up here. And with the 3 trees, I think our outline will be broken up well enough, even though we're right on the edge of the timber, that any deer passing on that perimeter trail looking in this direction, hopefully they won't pick us off. The key is to see them coming so that you're not moving, when they get close. Because our deer here aren't super wary of stuff in the tree. If you're not moving, they a lot of times don't pick you out. It's the movement that really catches their eye and what gets us busted, at least in this area. I know in some places the deer are looking into the trees for hunters, but they're not doing that here. So we probably get away with a little bit more being skylined than you might in some other places that get hunted harder. Amos, what are your thoughts? It's a sweet setup. I want to get my final pitch in for that edge trail, and how key that is, and how simple that pattern is to find and to hunt. So what are your thoughts on this setup?
It's very comfortable, wise for a tree. I think we're only up, 15, 16 feet, and it'd be a good opportunity for Jordan as well. There's a lot of close shooting, and a lot of mobility too. It's not like you're shooting through little openings, so it's an exciting spot for this fall.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a lot of fun. And we don't do hardly any shooting lane trimming this time of the year, because you way over trim always. Everything looks like closed in, and then October comes and all these leaves drop, and then you're sitting there wide open. So we'll wait and we'll do all of our shooting lane trimming when we come back to hunt this the first time. I mean, we'll take any big stuff out. Like we took a branch off the apple tree. Amos cut that off so I can have a better angle down there. Any big stuff we'll get now, but any of the smaller stuff up in the tree itself, we'll wait and we'll get that in October. So be looking for this one. I'm looking forward to this. I think we're gonna kill does, for sure. But I think we'll kill that 10-pointer out of here. I really do. And I would love for Jordan to shoot that deer. I think that would be the perfect deer for her. And as religious as that buck was to come into this spot to eat apples last year, he could be a pretty good target. Well, we appreciate you joining us. We'll see you right back here again soon for the next episode of Hoyt's Bowhunting Whitetails. And remember to always dream
big.